the All-NBA teams. The All-NBA first team is Harden, Doncic, Giannis, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. Really nothing much to argue with in that case. All five of these guys definitely deserve first team. They all had tremendous seasons. And I think if you ask most people who they would vote as All-NBA first team, I feel like you would probably get 99% of the people to agree with these five. So I really don't have any qualms, any issues with the All-NBA first team. Then you get to the second team, and we have Lillard, Chris Paul, Kawhi, Siakam, Jokic. I agree with Jokic. I agree with Siakam. I agree with Kawhi. I agree with Dame. I think Chris Paul can be argued because, yes, he had a good season. Yes, he's been a good mentor in OKC. But there's just, I don't know. While it's nothing against Chris Paul. Like, I'm a big fan of Chris Paul, actually. I love his game. I've always loved watching him play. I'm one of the people who's always wanted to watch him actually finally make it to a finals and see what, he really has in store. But I don't know. There's just something that kind of is off-putting to me about having Chris Paul on the second team right now. And then we'll just go to the third team. And the third team is Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert. The third team is where I feel like I can argue half the team. I feel like you can argue if Westbrook deserves it, Gobert deserves it. Some people can probably even argue Ben Simmons. I mean, personally, I think Ben Simmons had a great season. He also made all defensive first team. And personally, I think he should have been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, but I digress. So the biggest snubs, and according to like the votes, so in terms of voting, each player gets 5 points for first team, 3 points for second team, and 1 point for third team. Simmons got 61 points. Westbrook 56 points, Tatum 153, Butler 147, Gobert 110. And the next highest people after them were Middleton with 82, Embiid with 79, Bradley Beal with 32, and Kyle Lowry with 26. Now, it's pretty crazy to me that Bradley Beal didn't make any of the All-NBA teams, nor was he an All-Star, when the man averaged 30.5 points, 6.1 assists, 4.2 rebounds, 1.2 steals, shooting 45% from the floor. You mean to tell me that's not All-Star nor All-NBA third team worthy? Really, though? Is that really what it's coming to? I mean, granted, I know the Wizards weren't great. I know they weren't that good. But you gotta give this man credit. I mean, this guy didn't get any recognition for anything? That's just, I just feel like that's mind-blowing. And on top of that, Middleton almost has, or he might have had a 50-40-90 season. And the only reason he didn't really get in is because his votes were kind of split between guard and forward. And I don't know. I feel like with a guy like Middleton, he should count for either one. Especially when on his team he did play shooting guard for a season or two, or they at least listed him as a shooting guard. I just feel like For me, I probably would have put Middleton over Westbrook. I'm not saying that Westbrook had a bad season, but it's I don't know. I also looked at Kyle Lowry compared to Westbrook. Now, Lowry had 19.4 points, Westbrook had 27.2. Kyle Lowry had more assists per game, by a half assist. They pretty much had the same steals per game. Westbrook had some more rebounds. We all know that. He's a good rebounding guard. Lowry shot almost 10% better from the free throw line. He shot almost exactly 10% better from the three-point line. His field goal percentage was a little worse because a lot of Westbrook's buckets are close to the rim. Kyle Lowry's effective field goal percentage was .518 compared to Westbrook's 49.3. What else? Their PERs, Westbrook was a little bit higher than that, but Lowry had a much better true shooting percentage. Lowry had a higher amount of win shares, higher amount of box plus minus, higher amount of value over replacement player. And I just think that overall, Kyle Lowry was a little more important to his team's success than Westbrook was to his team's success. I don't know if that's taken into account when people vote for All-NBA, but I think it definitely should be. And then if we look at Embiid versus Gobert, I feel like the media members and the others that get votes for All-NBA have some sort of love fest with Rudy Gobert. And not to knock the guy, obviously an elite defensive player. But we all got to recognize the fact that he's quite limited offensively. Embiid, who played in, I think it was 17 less regular season games than Rudy Gobert, ended with a higher point total than Rudy Gobert. That is 17 games. And it's not like Embiid averaged 30 points a game. I mean, he put up, I think it was 23 or 24. Gobert, I think, put up like 15 or 16. Their rebounds were pretty similar. Their defensive ratings were the same at 104. Embiid's three-point percentage was better because Gobert, I don't think he even attempted any. And when you look at like player efficiency ratings and stuff like that, like most of the efficiencies, other than shooting, because most of Gobert's are right by the rim, go to Embiid. And if you swap Embiid and Gobert, and you put Embiid on the Jazz, Gobert on the Sixers, please tell me who you think is going to have a better season. And if you think the Sixers are going to have a better season with Gobert instead of Embiid, you're wrong. Because that is flat out ridiculous. Embiid is definitely making the Jazz better than Gobert is making the Sixers. I understand the fact that Embiid didn't play as many games. We all know he's injury prone. We get it. We get all the jokes, how he doesn't, play a whole season, blah, 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 blah. But his impact is felt so much more in those games than Gobert's is over his games. And again, Gobert does have a high impact. His defense and his presence is not to be taken lightly. However, if we're talking an All-NBA team and you're comparing these two, the only reason that someone probably, or I should say, the only reason that someone should have voted Gobert over Embiid, if you're going to, is because he played more games. And that's like legitimately it. That's it. That's all. I've seen people talk about like screen assists and stuff like that. Like if we're basing all NBA teams off of screen assists and stupid stuff like that, I mean it's not stupid. I get screen assists are a thing and everything, and setting screens are an important part of a team. But if that's what we're talking about is, you know, building someone's resume for an All NBA selection, there better be a lot more people getting looks or votes from the All NBA committee than just Gobert, if that's the case. There really should. Like if that is really the case, then there's no way Westbrook should be above Middleton, or there's no way Westbrook should be above Beal or Lowry either. It makes no sense. No sense at all.